Hey everybody. So today we are at Rocky Mount Historic Site and
Beautiful day.
oh my.
Oh, it's gorgeous out.
Yeah, it's like a high of 79, nice little breeze blowing,
In a beautiful location.
like no humidity.
Where we at, honey? Johnson City?
No, I believe that, it's just outside of Johnson City. I forget now where this is.
Right outside Johnson City.
Yeah, there we go. I'll have to look it up and I'll flash it across the screen. and I'll also have the its exact location in the description below. So I always like to put the address of a place if someone would like to go there. But at any rate,
We're here for some more history.
yep, follow along.
In the wilderness. He built his home in a fork of the Holston and Watauga rivers, on land next to the home of his sister Mary and her husband Henry Massengill Sr. The existing house at Rocky Mount, which was built in the late 1820s, is worthy of the distinguished family who built it. The multiple-room, two-story log house was large by frontier standards, but not overly ornate. The glass windows were considered status symbols, but the pine mantels and paneled stairway were comfortable looking but not fancy. As one historian put it, William Cobb entertained elegantly, with profusion rather than plenty, without ceremony and without grudging. His house was plain, convenient, without pretension or show. His equipage was simple and unpretending. He kept his horses, his dogs, his rifles, even his traps forbidding. They felt at home and never said adieu to him or his family without the parting regret and the tenderness of an old friendship. The Cobb home was soon famous as a setting of hospitality, and it was to play an important role in the formation of the Southwest Territory, and later the state of Tennessee. At the end of the French and Indian War, George III of England established the Proclamation Line of 1763, saying no white man could legally settle west of the Appalachian Mountains. But boundaries are hard to define in a wilderness, and Western settlement continued. Some settlers thinking, or choosing to think, that they were in North Carolina or southwestern Virginia. North Carolina had limited control over these western lands. Since the state had little success controlling Indian raids, the local residents organized the Watauga Association in 1772 to help defend the settlers and to eventually negotiate land purchases from the Indians. But on the eve of the American Revolution, the Indians were still opposed to more Western settlement. The growing local population asked the North Carolina Provisional Government for alliance and protection as the Washington District. And in 1777, this district became Washington County. William Cobb quickly established himself as a prominent citizen of the new settlement area. He served as both commissioner and justice of the peace for Washington County, and he was appointed a territorial justice of the peace for the same area. During the early stages of the Revolutionary War, local settlers were more concerned with the Cherokee Indians and their own daily lives than with the British. William Cobb's daughter, Penelope, was even married at Fort Womack during an Indian raid. But when the Cherokee War of 1776 ended, settlers turned their attention to the Revolution. When British commander Patrick Ferguson threatened to march his men over the mountains, hang local leaders, and waste the country with fire if the settlers continued to oppose the king's troops, many frontiersmen, including William Cobb's son, Farrar, rallied to the cause. Rocky Mount served as a rendezvous for several hundred local fighting men. William Cobb was instrumental in outfitting many of these soldiers, who then moved on to help fight a decisive victory over the British at Kings Mountain in October of 1780. After the Revolutionary War was over, North Carolina ceded its western lands to the new government in 1784. Local residents instead formed the state of Franklin, and by March of 1785, they had drafted a constitution, convened a General Assembly, and elected as governor John Sevier, hero of Kings Mountain. But Congress never recognized the would-be 14th state, and it was reclaimed by North Carolina in 1788. Once the new federal constitution was ratified, the North Carolina legislature again transferred the western lands to the federal government. In May 1790, the area was designated the Territory of the United States south of the River Ohio, or the Southwest Territory. William Blount was appointed governor as well as superintendent of Indian Affairs. He accepted an invitation to stay with the Cobb family and established Rocky Mount as the first capital of the territory.
On the 11th instant, I arrived in this county and was received with every good mark of attention and gladness that I could have wished.
Blount was a North Carolinian. He had served in the North Carolina House of Commons and the Constitutional Convention, making a favorable impression on George Washington. The first months of 1791 were busy for Governor Blount as he traveled throughout the territory, commissioned new officials, negotiated a treaty with the Cherokee Indians, and arranged for a census to be taken. The census returns for 1791, sent to Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson, reported a population of over 35,000, including slaves, in the Southwest Territory.
So no filming is permitted inside the museum. However, they did allow for photos. The museum starts off, as many in this area do, and that is with the Native Americans that lived in this area, namely Sequoyah, who created a written form of the Cherokee language. Then in 1770 to 1771, William Cobb begins building Rocky Mount. There's a lot of info on the Cobb and Massengill families who resided here. And now, coming from a long line of postal workers and even working there myself for a short time, I enjoyed seeing this post office setup they had here. The Rocky Mount served as the post office from 1838 to 1847. They also had a section on medical devices and medicine of the time. The term snake oil came from Chinese immigrants who brought with them oil from the Chinese water snake. Others began to use the term to name their own concoctions, and the term snake oil developed a negative connotation at that point. We could have a whole video on the quackery that took place in the medical field then and still today. They had war field medicine section on that. Then they had a section on pottery and on old advertisements, chamber pots of all things. And this only really covers a small portion of the museum. And I'm hoping that it piques your interest to visit Rocky Mount for yourself. All the videos that we do on these museums, we never show everything because we want you to go and experience it. And they also had a small gift shop. And so, unfortunately, we couldn't video inside the museum, but they do have sheep here, and it is a great museum, really. I forget the name of the sheep or what type they are, but they have a bunch of them here. So what do you think of the museum?
Okay, so in the museum there was so much information, so many artifacts, and it was the history of this area. So it had the timeline wall, and it had all kinds of products and utensils and utility items that were used for 100 years in this span, and the history of the Cobb family, and The woman at the, I guess what you'd call her, the museum curator, was fantastic. Her name was Rachel. Shout out to Rachel. And lots of information. Actually, while we were in videoing, she wrote down a whole bunch of other places that she suggests that we visit, which, I mean, who does that? Wait, the kindness in Tennessee, that's why we're here, folks.
Yeah, so like I said, we weren't allowed to video inside. We were allowed to take pictures.
Still beautiful day.
We just saw the sheep. There's the barn.
We love this fence. This type of fence is real prominent at Gettysburg. Yeah.
Then give you a little how beautiful it is here. And that is the museum there. But so this here is William Cobb. And the home of William Cobb once stood on this property. Cobb supplied food, horses, and ammunition to some local men who joined the campaign that led to the Battle of Kings Mountain. Those men camped here on September 24th, 1780. The next day they rode to Sycamore Shoals to join the main force of Patriot militia. So, in the Southwest Territory, you were here.
Tree.
Yeah, that tree's really cool. Pretty big too. But
so were you able to find out where this is the actual site?
yeah.
Or was it moved here?
No, this was the site, but I don't think it's the actual house. Because it says the house that used to stand here. So I think it's a recreation of that. But it is a nice setting.
Mm-hmm. And well paved walk around
Yep.
this property. Beautiful landscaping. This is legit how they would have landscaped too. Coming from England, everything looked like this.
Yeah. And this would have been the kitchen. I'm guessing like a summer kitchen kind of deal. And this
Hi.
would have been the servant house. And they have their garden down there, which is cool.
Wow,
Pretty cool, right?
pretty cool.
We figured we'd end the video under the old oak tree. So, what'd you think of the museum and the grounds here?
Incredible. The view right in front of us is breathtaking. Breathtaking.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
One of the most beautiful. The sky is so incredibly blue today.
Yep.
A little cloudy, but it's still stunning. Weather's beautiful.
Yeah.
It'd probably be well worth it to take the guided tour
Yes, I would definitely say for another $4.
to get more of the family history of the
Yep.
Cobbs.
Yeah. And Massengills.
And yep, Massengills.
Yeah, so I liked the museum. I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah, it was great.
The grounds are like really nice.
I got a couple things at the gift shop.
She did. Like we need more stuff. But
Just a couple things.
we had a great time.
We did.
And we recommend checking this out.
Yeah, for
And,
sure.
You know, unfortunately we couldn't video inside, but
We were able to take pictures, and
yeah, and I hope you enjoyed those. And
we just urge you to come out here
Yep.
to the historical site of Rocky Mount.
Yep, Rocky Mount Historic Site. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And we want to thank everybody for watching. And until next time,
Have a Steph-N-Lee day.